Hey everybody, good morning. So we are back for Love During Lockup. Uh, Scam the Scammer, more love. All right, season 4, episode 48. WeTV has the weirdest way they structure their seasons. I do not get it, but oh well. All right, so Love During Lockup, the spinoff of the spinoff, um, shows us basically people's relationships while they are locked up, like how they get to the point where we see them in love after lockup and life after lockup. So they start off with Justine and Michael. Okay. Now, Justine is a nurse. She has like two or three children, or she had two kids with her high school sweetheart. She got married young, and she's divorced now, whatever. But she's looking for a wedding dress to get married to a person in prison. She's there with her family. She's there with her mother and her daughter. Her daughter, honestly, I thought was her sister until her mother started talking to her. I didn't realize it was her granddaughter. But she had them young, so whatever. But the woman selling her the dress, when she tells her she's getting married to somebody in prison, she tomorrow. That's what she goes. She goes, well, tomorrow I'm getting married. She was like, okay, so we're limited to what's in the store. And she said he's in prison, and she go, like what? First of all, you knew when them cameras showed up in your store, it was gonna be some foolishness because that's what reality TV does. All right. So she's been dating this man in jail the whole time. She's been dating him for 3 years. Mike is a rapper. And so they show clips of his videos and things like that. Okay. And her mother is not here for the bullshit. I always think it is great when you have at least one person in your life who is visible on this show, willing to tell you this is freaking nuts. First of all, her supporting Mike as a rapper, we all know that I hate to be a dream killer. Now, it is not impossible to go from a criminal to a rapper, okay? But let's just cut it out and let's not act like that money is going to come in like this because you rapping. There's too many ways now that people can like become famous without getting paid. And I'm sitting up here like the whole premise of everything that a rapper represents like involves multiple women, involves groupies, involves this and that. And here you are holding this individual down. Like I support him in whatever he does as if he's gonna be a good man and husband. He's gonna rap. What is the mother is like, so what's he gonna do to make money? He's gonna rap. I would have kept asking her, so what's he gonna do to make money? Hello and good morning. So anyway, but I will say this, Justine, for what she appears to be a biracial woman. I will say that for her to be a biracial girl, her bundles and weave were on point. Because sometimes I have seen that and I'm just like, nobody taught you how to do your hair. Nobody taught you how to. It looks good. Justine, I ain't mad, but I do want you to do better with your life. All right. So the grandma starts whispering to the daughter, I mean, the granddaughter, while her daughter is trying on a wedding dress. And she is like, basically, we can't assume the worst. I thought the daughter was her sister because Justine looks young, young. Anyway, but I do think Justine must be a good mother. And the one thing that made me think that though, because for the daughter not to be angry with her mother for inviting the man from prison, um, her clearly having another father, a actual biological father, um, she seemed to be very supportive of her mother. And that gave me the impression I don't think kids demonstrate that kind of support for a parent when there is a touchy relationship with that parent. And that's what makes me think Justine is a good mother. And I really want her to stay in that lane and find somebody who's free and who can bring, some money to the table. Girl, you a nurse, find you a doctor, find you somebody that if they're not home, you know where they're at. You know what I mean? Like just decisions, bad ones are being made. Anyway, she goes up to the hotel because Mike's family is visiting. The mother seems to be pretty nice. The mother kind of, I think, seems like she has some Caribbean background. She goes to the hotel for Mike's family, who actually seemed very nice. They weren't as catty as sometimes you anticipate them being. But she said her and the mother worked together. Mike's mother worked together. And they talk. She talks to them about their wedding. So they get the mom by herself. She was very polite when it happened, shocked, but like, okay. She was like, look, he had plenty of women before. And when I saw the ages of his children, she's been dating him for 3 years in prison. When I saw the ages of his children, shit, some of them barely looked two. So it looked like maybe somebody was pregnant when he went in or had just had that baby. Because those his kids look young, young. And I'm just like, Justine. She was like, I see red flags and I just moved past them. So look, ain't no you can tell her. These people, anybody who signs up to be on the show to let people watch them be this crazy, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, Ty and Hottie and others, okay? Let's not pretend like Ty is somebody I can just feel sorry for. Now, this when we first, because Ty is somebody we know from last season. And honestly, I would feel so disrespected if the funeral home I was having a loved one in with a service and preparing to deal with that kind of grief and that kind of ceremony, that the people who were in charge of that funeral home were taping a reality show about an employee who's supposed to be working on my loved one dating an inmate when the dead person needs makeup. And we hear them say this. Okay, Hottie. Let me tell you. Let me tell you why I got a problem with him. Had a problem with him since last time. Okay, not simply because he's in jail. Yeah, because we can go in on everybody on the show for that. Hottie is a predator. He's a trafficker and he's a pimp, and I'm gonna tell you why. That young girl, Boston, who was significantly younger than Ty, and I know Ty beat her ass as a grown woman. I get it. When that girl though was like 25, 26, and she was like, we've been dating for 15 years. When I did the math, I said this girl had to start dating him when she was about 15 years old. And this man is now in his 30s. So he started dating her as a child. She's been groomed. And she is there to make him money. I don't like it. I know Boston is not the only one that he's using this way. She might be the most committed, and we know how situations like that can be. I don't like it. And I think for Ty, as a woman who has daughters, to be holding steadfast with a man even like this, I don't care whether she has other men, 'cause I don't think that's a good example for your daughters. Just like I don't think it's a good example when men date multiple women in front of their daughters and their children. Okay, because you're setting a poor example, whether you're a single parent or not. There are things they just don't need to know. Um, Anyway, so she after she be with that girl, and so I'm just like, Heidi got all kind of problems. Even if he gets out, what did she say? Like in 60 days or something? Was it her 60 days? I can't remember when Heidi's supposed to get out. He needs some more time. But whatever. I don't like it. I don't like it, and I think Ty needs to be smart enough not to be messing with no man like that. But then again, considering she's dating multiple inmates, because she knows where they are, and I guess she feels like they won't cheat on her from inside. Maybe not with women. Ty, get your life together, hun. Anyway, um, he writes her this letter. Meanwhile, while they're supposed to be setting up for a funeral, they setting up the chairs and everything. She has one of the other employees read this prison letter. First of all, you had your friend read it because you wanted her to know that this man was so after you, that he loved you so much. First of all, by the sounds of that letter, and I'm not one to try to dig up on people's literacy and things like that and hurt their feelings. But since Hottie put himself in this situation and he is not a nice person or kind or halfway decent, shout out to Ray from Life After Lockup. Um, he can't write and he needs to be in school longer. He needs to take advantage of some of those prison programs for his education because that letter sounded like what you write to your mother in first grade. Next, Ty decides to go to a hypnotist to help deal with her problems. Not a therapist, not a psychoanalyst. I don't believe in life coaches. I think you being able to get a life coach certificate after 3 months online does not prove that you have studied or understand psychology. It just proves you are nosy and you have a title. Anyway, and the hypnotist, and I'm kind of like, huh? No, you need therapy, girl. She says, well, she has trust issues. Well, obviously. She wants to settle down with a person who loves her as much as she loves him. Well, you can start by trying to commit yourself to one person. so that you all can develop a trusting relationship, Ty. Um, how could you take a man seriously who calls himself hottie? I can't. Um, she starts crying hysterically, like in the middle of, I forget what the woman asked her. The woman was like, "Look, think about all the beautiful men around you. They're like in the island of Jamaica," and she couldn't get the keys. And it was just like she has this incredible reaction. She was like, "Yeah, there's other stuff you need to undo." Yes, and now you can refer her to a therapist, not a hypnotist. Next, Holly gave her one of those ugly ass yellow sweatshirts that she had been asking for. This is apparently 2 months after she beat up that girl. I mean, she's 25. She's a woman, but she, you know, one of those ugly yellow sweatshirts. His cousin came by and gave her one, and I was like, "Why do you want to wear that? Why? Why were you begging for that? Ty, you too old for that." So he asked Ty to marry him on the phone. She says, "No, no, I want you to get on one knee, this, that, and the other." And he says, "Okay, I will." We don't know whether he was on his damn knee or not. And she's stupid. Um, so his cousin gives her the ring, and she's so happy. But Hottie's, oh yeah, here it is. Hottie is locked up for the next 5 years. But it's okay because Ty wants a prison wedding. Like this, I can't. So Ty gets a call from another inmate. It seemed like 3 minutes after this happens, and she was like, "Oh, okay, let me take this outside." So she, you know, it's bad when you go outside your own house to have this conversation. And the cousin is just kind of sitting there like, "Look, I know I'm in front of these cameras. Let's try not to." All right. So Ty gets a call from another inmate. Boyfriend number two is the way they labeled it. We TV, I can't. So until her last name changes, she says, "I'm still on the market." I'm like, Ty, this is how I know you're not prepared to have any sort of emotionally mature, healthy relationship. One, because you only date, when you say I date exclusively inmates, that's already a problem. Huh? These people have lost their damn mind. And then we get to the end of it, and Heidi them bought 2 rings, one for Ty, one for Boston. So if Ty said no, he knew Boston would say yes. And we know them rings got to be cubic zirconium and everything else. And I'm just sitting here like, cousin, make sure you wear a shirt that says the name of your hair salon so you can get people to come if that's your goal for being on here. Because honestly, I would not make a fool out of myself for my cousin in prison. Next, Melissa and Louie. Melissa is 39 years old and she has the mentality of a 20-year-old, like almost like a 20-year-old groupie. Um, Melissa's 39 years old, but she dressed like a cheerleader for this inmate named Louis, who looks like he's a construction worker because he don't have on a jumpsuit, he don't have on no kind of jail or prison uniform, and he just having a conversation with her over the internet, FaceTime, whatever it was, and I was just like, okay. And he's like 41. He looks older than I mean, he looks much younger than she does, but he's older. They went to the same high school. She was like, he has 200 days left. And in 200 days, you can have all of this. And I'm like, oh, God. Melissa. I can't. So they live in Georgia. He's 41, but he looks 12. Melissa's friends meet her at a restaurant, and she was like, "This is one of the places we have for a reunion." She said, "And when he comes out, we can have a party here, so I can say, 'Look, bitches, look what I got.'" And her friend was, her friend, it was written all over her face, like. And then she goes, "But why?" Like bragging to other people that you now have the guy that was hot in high school, but that has been in prison for armed robbery is not like a flex. It's not a flex. Like you are delusional. Who are you trying to convince this is a big deal? Them or you? Girl, bye. Um, and her friends, once again, this is when I think it's good when you have people around you that will at least say this is crazy. That one white girl was out there and she was like, yeah, she needs to get her head out of her ass. Like, they are just not here for it. And those are some real good, true friends. Next, Chelsea and Mikey. They're in Columbus, Ohio. So this one I found actually, it was hard for me to watch. This one was hard for me to watch because Chelsea is a single mother of a boy. His name is Trevor. He's about 10 years old. But Chelsea is a mute, so she has to communicate in sign language. So she has a handicap, and she speaks in sign language. And he talks about how he thinks there's a language barrier. I'm concerned with anybody who has a sufficient handicap, like being mute or deaf or blind, um, who's in a relationship with somebody they're not equally yoked with. And by that I mean, I I know I went to school with a couple of people who did have two parents who spoke sign language. Um, and they had perfect hearing and seeing. It's not genetic, per se. But her sister's worried about her, obviously. Anytime there is a kid with, not a kid, but a person that has a problem that makes them not fit into the world or allow them to navigate the world in a normal way, is difficult for them. And the sister, along with her father, is worried because of her relationship history with domestic violence. And that was really hard for me to hear. It's hard for me to watch because we already know these people in prison take advantage of people on the outside. Um, I know that even in schools, children who are most likely to get molested or um, reportedly molested and abused tend to be handicapped in some shape, way, or form. And so for me, even watching that and thinking about who the fuck the monster has to do that to someone who can't speak, it was just hurtful to me. It was hurt for me to watch and hear. And she says she's bounced back, and I'm sure in her mind she believes that. And maybe she has, but this would just be another dangerous road to travel down. And it doesn't mean that her family hasn't been involved. Um, I've known people in domestic violence situations. You can't just make somebody leave. You can't just drag them out of the house. It's psychological and it's physical. And men do kill women they're in relationships with. So I guess and for him to be a criminal already, it concerns me. So this part wasn't. I can't even joke about it. It's not funny to me. Um, I just, yeah. So I'll just leave it there. So Dory and Emily. Okay. Dory is a criminal data researcher. Isn't Dory the criminal data researcher? No, Emily is the criminal data researcher. Sorry. And she is dating a convict. Emily. Emily, you're a criminal data researcher. Why? Why? The mere premise of your profession should allow you to avoid these people. Huh? So she goes out looking for a gold ring for them to get engaged or whatever while Dory's in prison. Um, she said, but she knows he's been unfaithful. He was talking to a girl named Alexis and mixed him up with Emily by a letter. No, because he called her and he was speaking in Spanish. She was like, "Why are you speaking in Spanish to me?" He said, "Because I'm talking to Alexis." Girl, you know Alexis, whoever she is, ain't the only one. And this looks dumb. Okay? So she believes she can probably trust him now, even though her friend is giving her the side eye in the jewelry store. And we know the jewelry store owner is listening to everything. Um, he's in prison all day. All he has time to do is sit around and take advantage of people. She says she sees it as an opportunity to scam the scammer. But I kind of missed some of the details when she was talking because she bores me. My mind went, yeah, no, no, no. So he claims he's not. She claims he's not a great criminal, and therefore that's why she can trust him. Girl, Emily, it's not my job. Emily claims it's not my job to take care of him while he's in jail. It's his family's job. I absolutely 1000% agree. And with that mentality, baby, I think you need to go and find yourself some business elsewhere in the free world. Live your life, okay? And live it freely. Criminal data researcher, instead of wasting your time with him. Child, these people, I understand people in jail and in prison are bored, okay? I just don't understand what makes these people attractive or why they are worth the stress. These people can't even go out to dinner with you. You gonna end up carrying them one way or another. And Dory's supposed to come out and live with you. Like, Girl, bye. So that was love during lockup. Scam the Scammer, season 4, episode 48. Uh, More love. I guess we can call it love. We'll see what happens next week. I'll see y'all later. Bye.